Hi there, this is Robert Stehlik with Blue Planet Surf and the Zen Waterman blog reporting from the Molokai Race 2011, Molokai to Oahu. So the first shot here is I went down to the beach early in the morning before the start, set up my GoPro camera and put the GPS on the board, and I set the camera to take a picture every 2 seconds and then put it all together as a time-lapse shot, which I thought came out really nice. I was hoping actually to get the whole Hawaiian pule on the beach, the prayer, and then launching into the water and all that, but unfortunately the camera stopped after taking 999 images, and so next time I'll have to remember to break it up into some shorter segments, I guess. But I really like the way the clouds are moving in the direction of the travel that we're going to take soon. So this was the day before the race, getting on the plane from Oahu. This is Port Lock and Waikato, where the finish is going to be, in Alma Bay, Hopa Crater. It's kind of what you're aiming for. First things you see from the channel as you're crossing. There's the Kaiwi channel. The conditions look really nice. You can see white caps from the plane. This is where the start is going to be the next morning, Koala Koi. It's a beautiful place on Molokai, landing at the little airport on Molokai. Really love Molokai. It's such a mellow place and friendly people. That's why they call it the Friendly Isle. I was able to get a ride to the start, and got lucky and got some great interviews. Brian Szymanski, Jeff Denholm, and of course Gerry Lopez.
We're sitting here at Molokai. Tomorrow's going to be the race, so it's mostly relaxing and focusing. You got to mentally be really locked into the game to get as many rides as you can, and you want to be gliding and then jumping over the bumps and gliding, that's the way to get there the fastest.
Tomorrow, I'm way more relaxed this year. I just want to go out and have fun. It's never about me and the competition. It's just I want to beat my time from last year, and I want to feel good and have fun.
You do need to be right in the here and now, basically have that Zen state of mind, that very clear mind. I've often taken a downwind run. A thought will pop into your mind and it'll take your concentration, your focus away from what you're doing. Next thing you know, you're in the water. And so you got to get back on, refocus, and really make yourself stay in the moment and not be thinking about something else. That's a nice state to be in, and that's also another appeal about stand-up, because it really doesn't require a lot of effort to get in that state. You just got to go out and do it. I can tell you for sure that whenever you're feeling down, or a little blue, a little depressed, a little weak, if you're near the ocean but you don't want to go in because it's too much trouble, or it's windy and maybe a little cloudy and cold or whatever, if you just get over that hump, force yourself to go in the ocean, you'll always feel better afterwards. Every time, guaranteed. Going in the ocean will make you feel better.
So I really hope you have a chance to watch the Gerry Lopez interview.
I see our guy. He's on the opposite side. He's like at the head.
Really good stuff. Anyway, I think Gerry Lopez is just a Zen master, and I have a lot of respect for him, and I'm just really honored and humbled that I was able to get an interview with him, and he's just a really good guy. Excellent stuff. So anyway, here's the start of the race. Everyone taking off. It was really cool this year because they started the prone paddle boarders together with the stand-up paddle boarders for the first time ever, and so we got to start. All the solo paddlers started together, and it's cool to be with the top prone paddlers, including Jamie Mitchell, starting into the channel, and the boats can't really hook up with you until about half an hour out, so This is, I think, the first shot that the boat got when they met up with me. So, you know, the first part is the waves are pretty small, but there was wind right away and some little bumps starting in the first few minutes of the race. And then as soon as we got like about half an hour into the channel, it was already pretty good sized swell. And it's not coming straight from the wind is not coming straight from the back, so you're always trying to stay a little bit north and can't really just run with the swell. It's not a total downwinder, but there's definitely some good rides to be had, but you have to stroke into it pretty hard to get it. So I'm just trying to conserve my energy and rest a lot in between, get some bumps, and then glide and glide and glide. And I was on the SIC Bullet that I just got. It's one of the production ones made in Thailand at the Cobra factory, and it has an EPS foam core. It worked really well. I kind of like the feel of having a foam core inside rather than the hollow boards. Kind of tend to just have a more vibration and so on. So this one, the foam core is a little bit heavier, but it felt really good. The Sierra almost went in, but caught myself luckily. And you know, obviously starting out, I had lots of energy. I was actually staying pretty close to the leaders. Connor Baxter, Dave Kalama, and Scott Gamble, Livio. Those guys kind of took off though right away and were got ahead of all of us. Here I'm going on a smaller runner, going more northerly, and then some of the bigger swells like these were kind of running really southerly, so you couldn't really catch those. You were looking more like for the smaller bumps that were pushing you more towards Oahu rather than just going down with the swell. So, you know, then moving back, here the nose almost went down. You gotta, it's a lot of shifting your weight back and forward to catch the bump, and then back to get more of the board out of the water and glide a little bit longer. I use a Werner bend shaft paddle. It seems to be a little bit easier on my body, easier to grip and more ergonomic, so that's why I use it. I don't know if it's faster or anything like that, but it just seems to be a little more comfortable, and that's really important in the Molokai race. And you know, here I still had lots of energy.
Hour 15, you still
getting the bumps. The boat just told me hour 16, so it's still fresh. Here I'm taking a drink from the water bag. I went through about 2.5 water bags, so during the course of the race, and I brought nutrition and everything else. And the year before, I had some pretty major issues with cramping, and I was trying to avoid the cramping. And I took all kinds of stuff and supplements and salt pills and Enduralites and mixed electrolytes into my drinks and all kinds of stuff. But still, after about 2.5 or 3 hours of paddling, I started cramping, unfortunately, and I really had to slow down. And especially, I think part of it, what has to do with it is all the the bigger bumps in the channel and the balancing, and then just having to push hard to get into the bumps. I noticed that the cramps would start when I was really pushing into a bump or making sudden movements or kind of the jerky movements, or just trying to, here I went in.
Got that.
Didn't fall in a whole lot, so the Bullet, it's actually a fairly stable board. So I was really happy with the way the board worked, and I felt like if I had if I wasn't cramping and I didn't have to slow down for that, I think I would have finished the racing closer to 5 hours. But unfortunately, about halfway across the channel, when I was about 16 miles across, it's just the cramps started coming, and I took the salt pills, and that helped a little bit, and tried a couple of things that helped a little bit, try to stretch out. But I just had to be really more careful with the
3 hours, 45 minutes.
Stress I put on my muscles, especially my abs were cramping, my triceps, my forearms, and my hands were just like cramped up, and I had to stretch them open. But anyway, the conditions were really fast. I mean, the conditions were good. Sometimes it seemed like there wasn't much wind at all, but there was always some push from the bumps. I guess the currents were in our favor. We're going to take another break. Add some liquid nutrition there, and trying to stretch out those muscles to keep them from cramping up. But I don't know. That was really frustrating, and actually, I think at this point somewhere I just was questioning whether I ever want to do this again. It's kind of painful, and the cramping just kind of takes the fun out of it. But you can see how far away Oahu still is. My toes were cramping too, so I had to, like, if I stretched my toes out to back behind me, they would just cramp up. So I had to be really careful with the movements I do. And yeah, I think at this point I was like, oh, I don't think I'm ever going to do this again unless I can figure out how to avoid the cramping. And but you know, still made slow progress. Just slow down a little bit. And, still kept moving, kept going, kind of struggling along. And my crew, the boat was really great. Captain Jack Hinano, this is captain. Had a couple of girls and a support crew. They did a really good job, and thanks for filming and everything like that. Really appreciate all that. And here we are actually already getting close to the Portlock Point, approaching the wall. Try to stay a little bit more northerly, but approaching it at a pretty good angle, I thought, this year. You can see some boats further at the wall, kind of just running down the wall. Came in more northerly, and then behind me I was followed by Annabelle. She's from New Zealand. She passed me actually right at Portlock Point, and then like at China Walls there was actually 4 solo paddlers in a row. It was Nolan, Kealana, Xavier, I think he's French, and Annabelle, and myself right behind them. And then I took kind of an inside line because the wind was pretty strong, so I just went along the right side of the bay along the seawall, kind of avoided some of the wind and came in kind of ahead of Xavier and Nolan, but Annabelle was paddling pretty strong and hard, and she came in front of me actually, so just right in front of me. But and interestingly, at this point I was still really kind of, my muscles were tight and cramping and everything like that. But then as soon as we got into the flat water of the bay, even though you know I was stroking pretty hard and paddling hard, somehow the cramps stopped. So it's interesting. I think so. Maybe the cramps have something to do with the balancing too, or having to balance on the sudden movements, is what was hard for me. So here, this is where I'm inside the bay, further in already. Yeah, so the paddle from the tip of Portlock to the finish is still like another 1.5 miles. So, and it's upwind. It's a tough final finish of the race. You know, it'd be nice if you could just shoot downwind to the finish line, but at this race, it's just like the last part is really tough. So coming into it, the finish, you can start seeing those 2 buoys to the finish line, and I kind of, you know, the leaders came in like an hour in front already, so I was kind of in the main pack or in the middle of the pack kind of thing, but so I saw a couple of teams in front of me and a bunch of people that paddle more in the middle of the bay. I think it was a little bit easier coming down the side because it was not as windy as coming down the channel in the middle. So finally approaching the finish line, felt really good to almost be there. Saying to myself, okay, you're almost there, you can do this. Put in whatever you got left. So let's finish this thing. And those 2 buoys are the finish line in Hawaii Kai. A lot of people on the beach. Thanks to my family for being there. And